Good evening, Jim Rosenthal here, bringing you the best of the action from the League Cup quarter-finals. Our commentary comes from Old Trafford, where Manchester United and Everton meet, both needing success in the League Cup after disappointments in the First Division. Joining our commentary team, Scottish international Lou Macari. We'll also keep you in touch with the other quarter-finals, Queen's Park Rangers and Arsenal at Loftus Road, Derby County playing Bolton at the baseball ground, Aston Villa at home to Millwall. Let's start by going round all those quarter-finals, beginning with a game that will provide our commentary. Manchester United and Everton, reporting from Old Trafford, Alan Parry.
And what a moment to join us. 11 minutes to go to half-time, and Everton have just taken the lead. Manchester United 0, Everton 1. The goal, an absolute thunderbolt from Everton's midfield player, Martin Dobson, from all of 25, even 30 yards. He thundered the ball in with his right foot and beat Stepney, who has certainly been the busiest goalkeeper tonight so far. A match really wrecked by anxiety, the sort of anxiety you'd expect from two teams really desperate for a win. The football hasn't been great, but there have been plenty of incident, and the inevitable 59,000 crowd at Old Trafford has really enjoyed the commitment of both teams, even if the game has been a little short on subtlety and skill. One man who's really shone is Britain's most expensive footballer, Bob Latchford. He's looked very sharp and quick, and has given United's young centre-half, Steve Patterson, a lot of problems. He 3 times forced Stepney to save before, moments ago, Martin Dobson really opened up this game with that brilliant goal, and that makes the scoreline with 11 minutes of the first half remaining. Manchester United 0, Everton 1.
Alan Parry reporting, so that game really taking off at the right time. In a moment we'll go back to Old Trafford for commentary on the closing moments of the first half, and of course exclusive commentary on all of the second. Well, next to Loftus Road and the London derby between Queen's Park Rangers and Arsenal, this game should have been played last night. Referee Clive Thomas decided the pitch was unfit. No problems today, though. There's been hardly any rain here in London, so let's get the latest situation from Bryon Butler.
And with Soccer Special's impeccable sense of timing, you join us at exactly the right moment. Just 30 seconds ago, Arsenal took the lead. The score then, Queen's Park Rangers 0, Arsenal 1. The goal scored by Frank Stapleton, but the goal made by Pat Rice. He burst up on the right wing, crossed it. I thought the shot was going to go in from all of 30 yards, but Frank Stapleton got the touch, and it's he who's been credited with that score. The score then, Rangers 0, Arsenal 1, and it's a game that's been taut and nicely balanced, and a game too that's full of light and shade. Rangers' best up until that moment just a minute ago, I thought a little better than Arsenal's best. Rangers' best moment of all coming in the second minute, when Eddie Kelly, once of Arsenal himself, got clean away with Arsenal's defence screaming for offside and standing around like statues. Kelly muffed it, but it got the game off to a nice dramatic start, and that's the way it stayed. 9 minutes to half-time, Rangers 0, Arsenal 1.
Bryon Butler. Well, next it's at the baseball ground where it's Derby County and Bolton Wanderers. And Derby's acting manager Colin Murphy says the League Cup could redeem their season. But Bolton's pedigree is impressive, unbeaten in the last 6 games, 3rd in the second division. Our reporter at the baseball grounds, John Adams.
No goals. The early play with Derby, if somewhat tentatively. George spit Bolton on the right, but Vaughan failed to collect his low centre, and one felt that only Bolton could feel themselves free of the tension. They could achieve much more than contain. Derby was sadly lacking in positive play from their midfield trio, and though Powell's distribution was often effective, Riek and Gemmell seemed disinclined to get in front of the ball. Bolton threatened when a fine ball from Greaves found Taylor, who volleyed over as Derby's tension and that of the crowd grew ever stronger. They had a lucky let-off when Watmore's shot passed under Colin Bolton and into the net, only for the linesman to flag a colleague offside. Powell's header was Derby's retaliation, just wide. But then Colin Bolton again had to be at his very best to keep out a Greaves free kick, as Bolton became rather the more positive of the sides. Though Bourne had McDonough at full stretch after a fine ball from George, and Riek just now failed as Derby are starting to come into it. The score, Derby 0, Bolton 0.
So the 2 matches we've been to at the moment, Manchester United 0, Everton 1, and Everton scorer Martin Dobson after 34 minutes, and Queen's Park Rangers 0, Arsenal 1. Frank Stapleton the scorer there for Arsenal also after 34 minutes. The bookmakers' odds, incidentally, Aston Villa and Manchester United, the 7-2 favourites. Derby and Queen's Park Rangers, they're both 9-2. This is to win the competition. Arsenal and Everton at 7-1, and Bolton Wanderers and Millwall, they're at 20-1. And the semi-finals coming up in mid-January. Well, it's the first against the second as well at Villa Park, where Millwall playing their 9th League Cup tie against the joint favourites. Aston Villa trying to become the first team to win the competition 3 times, and manager Ron Saunders taken 3 different teams to the final. But Millwall are making a day of it. Every full-time member of the staff's made the trip, and win or lose, it's smoked salmon and chilled white wine on the way back. Well, for an indication on whether Millwall will be celebrating or drowning their sorrows, let's join Larry Canning.
And the score here is Villa 1, Millwall 0. Villa bounced into the lead in the 8th minute when Alex Cropley took his 4th in-swinging corner from the right wing. The ball met the head of the incoming Chris Nicholl, and his powerful header hit the net over the head of goalkeeper Mickey Johns. That goal stung Millwall into action, and for almost the first time in the game so far, they got into the Villa half of the field and made the 30-odd thousand crowd gasp. Phil Walker rounded full-back Smith on the right wing, cut the ball back to his left foot, and hit a stinging shot which Jake Findlay in the Villa goal stopped at full stretch but couldn't hold, and luckily for Villa, Leighton Phillips was on hand to boot the ball anywhere for safety. Then Trevor Lee had Findlay desperately clawing the ball out, and suddenly it was all Millwall, with Villa making only the odd break. But only seconds ago, left-back Smith hit a hard centre across the face of the Millwall goal, with Andy Gray only inches short of it. Plenty going on, and there's a lot of interest still left in this game. Latest score then, Villa 1, Millwall 0.
So that's 1-0 to Villa at Villa Park. No goals yet, Derby County and Bolton Wanderers. QPR 0, Arsenal 1. Frank Stapleton the scorer. And since we went to Old Trafford, there's been a goal.
Greenoff to Forsyth, being challenged by Goodler, still gets the ball out to Coppell, and Coppell is slipped. And here comes David Jones for Everton, being challenged by Daly. Goes round 2 challenges. Pattinson comes in 2. First time effort, and it's there! Everton have done it again! Andy King the scorer! And the Everton players are going absolutely wild here. Terrible confusion in the United defence. The ball spun wide to Andy King, and he gets his 4th League Cup goal of the season. United have got problems now. It's Manchester United 0, Everton 2.
Yes, United in all sorts of trouble there at Old Trafford. Well, let's go back and rejoin our commentator, Peter Jones.
Welcome back to Old Trafford, and certainly United are in terrible trouble here. 2-0 down at home, 60,000 people, and the red and white part of it really struck dumb by those 2 goals. A glorious goal by Martin Dobson, and then just to rub it a little further, the goal just came a few minutes ago that you heard from Andy King. So we've got a cup tie on our hands here, but Everton at the moment very, very much in the ascendancy. Everton all in blue, playing from right to left as we look down here. An absolutely packed Old Trafford, and as you can imagine, Everton absolutely jubilant. In our commentary team tonight, we have Manchester United Scottish international Lou Macari, and I know that Lou would much prefer to be down on that pitch if he were fully fit, but knowing by the frown on his face, I think, Lou, there are all sorts of problems at the back for United tonight.
Yes, without a doubt. I think the inexperience is showing up now. Bob Latchford has looked every penny worth of 350,000. And I would think that the 2 goals Everton scored, I don't think they'd have been scored against an experienced side. So really tonight it's a case of inexperience against experienced players.